I think one of the things that is important to keep in mind when looking at the effects this has on families, a couple of things. One is the effect it has on children. Children living in a home, growing up in a home that has been hoarded, have some things that happen to them. Their childhoods are a little bit different than other kids. They can't play with kids at their house. They can't invite kids over. They have this kind of secret life, in a sense, and many children of people with hoarding problems talk about what they call doorbell dread. That is the dread that someone will come and ring the doorbell, because if that happens unexpectedly, then the family scrambles to sort of hide what's behind the door. And that gives a child kind of a funny perspective growing up. And from our research, one of the things we see is that if someone grew up in a hoarded home before the age of 10, it seems to have more serious consequences for them in terms of the difficulties developing friendships, social anxiety, and especially a very strained relationship with parents later on in life. So by the time they get to be adults, then their relationship with their parent is quite strained. The other thing we often see in the relationship between elderly parents with hoarding and the adult children is a strained relationship that's gone on for decades. If you can imagine decades worth of difficulty. And the difficulty seems to center on an adult children who discovers hoarding in their parent, their aging parent, becomes quite frustrated and wants to do something. And what do you do? How do you go about this? If you think about what it's like to walk into a home that's absolutely full, you get the idea, you think to yourself, well, give me an hour and I can really clean this place up. And that's where the conflict starts, because if they do that without the permission of their loved one, then the conflict starts. And eventually we see this over and over again in hoarding cases, the family fractures. And when the family fractures, the loved one with the hoarding problem will often prevent family members from coming into their home and prevent anyone else from coming into their home, because they feel this criticism, they feel the shame associated with this.